What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that's really near and dear to my heart, and that is SEO and blogging to generate leads, and more specifically, SEO and blogging to generate leads for real estate agents. That is a strategy that I've used personally in my business to kind of get my business up and running. But today I do have a guest on who is an absolute expert in SEO and blogging, and that is Brandi Smith, real estate agent, entrepreneur, and expert SEO and blogger. So, Brandi, I want to welcome you to the show, and how you doing?
Hi, thank you for that sweet introduction. So SEO is something that I did not know that I wanted to learn until I got into real estate, insurance, and my couple entrepreneurial endeavors. But really, what I wanted was a landing page to send people to so that they could see all the things that I do. And I started realizing that that could be a source of income in itself just to have that website. So I really started learning about SEO with that, but I dove way down that rabbit hole. So now I can share that with you guys. Um,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, so I mean, kind of just like get up and going, get people to kind of know you a little bit more. I know you run multiple
mhm.
businesses in real estate, and you mentioned a little bit there about like your journey with SEO. So if you don't mind, kind
Yeah.
of sharing just that journey in business and how you discovered it, and how you got to this point today.
Yeah. So I actually, before real estate, was in insurance for 10 years. So I worked with a big company, did all their own, website and SEO themselves. And then being in insurance, I felt that that was a good career, but what I really wanted was to be able to have a family and spend time with them, and then also to be able to retire early. And I've always loved pretty houses and always loved helping people. So I really wanted to get into real estate and felt that that would be a good path for me to have an early retirement, me to have some control over my schedule, and to have ownership in my own business. In insurance, yes, I needed to generate my own leads, and a lot of my income was under my control, but still someone else dictated how I did things, my hours, and whether or not I could, do things with my family. So, real estate is just something that I could truly have more control over my own life. So I decided to get into that. Um, so a little bit about how I actually got into real estate, or kind of my whys behind it, was the early retirement. For me, it was just large paydays. I've never really had an issue managing the uh, chaos that can be sales sometimes. I mean, I did that in insurance for like 10 years, but um, real estate is just kind of that on a larger scale. So for me, that's a good way to be able to invest money, to put money aside, and to be able to live the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. So I wanted that. Um, but I also knew that it would be honestly more hours, but I don't mind working a lot of hours. I just want to be able to take personal time when I need to take personal time. So real estate was that for me. So just on many different levels, real estate has always felt like the right career for me. So when I got into real estate, I was just very passionate. Like I still am. I don't know why I'm talking in past tense, but um, real estate is awesome, and my heart is in it. So I feel like that's why I've chosen to invest so much extra energy into making sure that the business is successful, that it meets the goals that I intended it to meet from the very beginning. So SEO is kind of it serves many purposes. Not only does it help people find me when they're looking for the services that I have, but then also people who are using some of my other business ventures will see that website and go, oh, she also does this and that. So it helps me kind of retain clients, stay in front of them, convert them throughout my other businesses. Because I mean, many of them go together. In their own weird ways. I do insurance and I do real estate. They clearly go together, but I also bake cookies and I call them open house cookies so I don't mess up my keywords on my website. But people wouldn't think they go together, but I promise they do. I bake all the time for my real estate business, for my clients, for open houses, things like that. So SEO is I started getting a landing page up together to bring people into that. And I was like, it's going to be something simple, but it's never simple with me. So now it's like 12, 13 pages, something like that. There's just a wealth of information and entertainment on my website, honestly. So in getting into SEO, I really needed to know that putting all those businesses in one place wasn't going to mess up my ranking on Google, that I was still going to be able to come up to the first page on Google for any of the keywords for any of my businesses. Because most of the time when people have many businesses, and lots of realtors have more than one thing that they're doing, I mean, even in our company EXP, because people are trying to attract agents and they're trying to sell real estate, and even in itself, those are kind of two separate things. So to be able to do that, keywords were really, really important, and me making sure that those keywords are going to work for all of my businesses and get me up to that first page. So it was really important that I not just learned a little bit of SEO, but I had to really deeply understand it in order to be able to handle the complexity of what I needed it to do. But now another business venture that I've gotten into is helping other business owners, and specifically other realtors, with their SEO on their websites. And I'm able to do that because of the depth that I've had to understand it in order for it to work for me. So I've definitely got those base skills for other people to be able to use, and them to be able to do it really well, because they'll be able to have the same knowledge that I do. So
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So like SEO is definitely one of those strategies I think people I don't like I want to say overlook, but because it's so complicated and there's a lot of
yeah.
technicality involved, I think people tend to maybe shy away from it. So in your perspective, maybe you can touch on this a little bit, is there's a lot of benefits with SEO and blogging. And I don't think agents really understand what it is. And when they think of a blog, they might just think they're putting out information just to put out information, right? They're treating it
Yeah.
like some kind of social media platform, but that's not really what SEO is. So maybe you can
Yeah.
touch on a little bit like the complexities or just the technical background of how SEO works and how agents can actually leverage that to generate
Mhm.
leads organically online.
Um, so that was a couple part question there. I
Right.
want to start by first saying that when I first started blogging, I was writing blogs for the sake of putting content on my website. I had
Right.
already started looking into SEO, and a major factor in SEO is that your website needs to not be thin. It needs to have substance. There needs to be content there, and there needs to be a lot of it. So a goal that I'm working towards, and what I tell other people that you should be working towards as well, is to have 100 blog posts of 1,400 words. And that is a lot of content. But when you have that much content, you're feeding Google a whole meal to work with. They're not just making assumptions about your website. And I mean, they are, but they're going to be accurate assumptions now because they've got enough information to go off of. But when I first started writing content, I was just trying to put something out there. So I was putting not great blog posts. They were too short. I wasn't optimizing them with the keywords. There was just a lot that wasn't happening. So my point in that is to say that writing blogs should actually serve a purpose for you. It's your opportunity to tell your clients how to feel about you, how you run your business, and what to expect from you. They're going to go look at those reviews. So in that, they're going to see other people's opinion of you, but your blog is your opportunity to tell them how you want them to feel and to share pieces of your personality. Like my blog, I've actually jeopardized my own keywords to label my blog the Rarely Hilarious Blog, because that describes me. I'm serious 99% of the time, and then 1% I'll just be funny and surprise everyone. So, and that's kind of the character of my blog, is that I talk about real estate, I talk about entrepreneurship, I talk about many different subjects within those categories, but it is serious most of the time, and then I'll just randomly be funny. So that's a way to connect with my clients, for them to see not only the factual information. A lot of other realtors are putting out stats on the current market and things like that, but people can go to Google and get those things. And yes, that does help your SEO and pull it up. But once they've gotten there, you really want them to go, okay, but why should I trust you? And really, what I find that people are truly looking for is they just want your opinion to match their opinion. So the stuff beyond the facts, the stuff that you guys, not just, irrefutable information, but they want to know if they think that the market is crap right now, that you're calling the market crap, that they want to know that you're on the same page with things, but then kind of your own personal brand. It's your way to get that out there, to say, these are the communities that I'm fighting for to have homeownership, or these are the specific types of houses that I'm dealing with, or the area that I have expertise. So they're just trying to vet you even deeper, to know if you're the right person to work with them or not. But I also think that that helps agents in a sense, because the clients that are choosing to work with you are the clients that are saying, hey, I have things in common with you, or we feel the same way about something. So that's also helping you get better quality clients in. And additionally, if they're taking the time to read those blog posts, then they actually care about your opinion. So you're going to have clients that are going to listen to you when you're telling them that listing is way overpriced, versus clients that had just saw a couple of reviews and were like, they sold my house quickly, and then they called you and they didn't take a lot of time to look. But in the SEO world, the longer you can keep somebody on your page, the better it is for your SEO. So you want people to come to your new people to come to your website. You want them to come back, so old people, and then you want them to stay on your website for as long as possible and visit as many pages as possible. So your blog is a huge opportunity for that, because it's a place you can put keywords to get, and I will get on that because it's like the biggest thing in SEO, but it's a good place for you to put keywords to get people to the blog. It's a good place to keep people there, because if you can write an entertaining blog that's full of information and not just about real estate, but full of facts about yourself, or things that they can perceive about you, you can keep people there for a lot longer on your website as well. So it benefits you in many ways to write blog posts and to actually spend some time on them. Me personally, I put out 2 a week, and I've gotten a lot faster at putting those together. But I definitely suggest, if you're a new agent or new to building a website, new to blogging, to spend some time, even if you can only produce 1 every other week, just make it really good. And then write your blog posts, like, have your outline, put the blog post together, but then when you're done, go back through and go, do I have the keywords in there that I intended to have? So if you don't mind, I'll switch gears and talk about keywords a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a pretty important part as well, is the keywords, because a lot of agents out there have their blogs and it's good information. They're somehow not getting it out there onto the internet, right? They're not able to capitalize on it. So yeah, definitely talk a little bit about, the importance of that.
So in SEO, keywords arguably is like the most important thing. And a lot of people are familiar with that term, but the applicability is something else. So where I start on that is that there are websites we can link below that will help you do keyword research. So what you want to do is you want to sit down and write every word you could think of that applies to your industry, that you think people might be Googling in order to find your services. So that's the first part. The second part is, what keywords do you think are most common on your competition's website? And I'm hesitant to say competition in the real estate world, because we try to work together, but in the sake of Google rankings, they are going to be your competition, whether they're your BFF at work or not, because there's only one number 1 spot and only one number 2 spot. So you are going to be competing against other websites. So those 2 key factors, what applies to your business specifically that your clients are going to search for, and what is your competition going to be putting on their website, because you want those things to be uneven in a sense. You need to you want your website to rank for words that are going to be heavily searched, but not heavily prevalent in other websites. That's the only way to get up the Google pages. So there are multiple tools online, a few that I really like, that you can type in different words and it'll tell you what the search volume is per month and how difficult it's going to be for any newer website to rank above other pages with those same keywords. So in a lot of business, we talk about niching down, and this is going to be a lot the same in SEO, is that you need to say, how am I different from other realtors? And then start your keyword search there. But something to note is that very similar words and phrases can rank very differently. There is a huge difference between the keyword realtor and realtors. That S absolutely makes a difference. So you're going to want to remember that. And what I do is I actually wrote down my 5 keywords that I chose. I put them on a sticky note beside my computer, and everything is digital for me, but I felt that that was so important that I needed to put it on paper, needed to have it beside my computer. And every time I write a blog, I'm going back through and going, did I meet all those keywords that I wanted to have in there? And is it the right version of the word? Like, is there an S or a lack of an S if I needed one? Is it the right phrase? But then, so keywords, the placement of a keyword on your website also makes a huge difference. So I had talked earlier about the Rarely Hilarious blog. And the reason I say that kind of messed up my keywords is because when you're placing keywords on your website, the higher they are up on the page, the higher in the title versus subtitle, the farther up in the blog they are, all that stuff makes a difference. And it tells Google how to process the keywords, how important they are to your website. So if it's not in the title, Google is going to say, okay, that's a related word, but it may not be what this website is about. So you want to take those keywords and you'll want to put them on your page headings. You'll want to put them in your URL. You'll want to put them, your titles and subtitles in your blogs, and you'll want them to show up a lot. There's another tool, which we'll link down below, that tells you, it basically goes through your whole website and it says, this is what I think your keywords are based on the content on your website. And sometimes it's baffling. It'll come back and be like pancakes and rocking chair, and you'll be like, crap, what did I do here? So that's a great tool to have too, to keep going back after you know, every so many blogs that you post, to go back and be like, is it doing what I want it to do? And, you know, are we ranking for the words that we want to rank for? Because it's great if people accidentally found your website looking for something not related, but it's just as bad whenever people are literally searching for you and not finding you. So, you know, maybe your name is one of your keywords. I wouldn't suggest it, but if you Google your name, like all your social profiles and your website should be like all that's covering the first page. And if it's not, then I would start there. But definitely keywords are huge, and you want to make sure that in your fields and in your niche, you are showing up on that first page. Because if you think about from the client perspective, when you're looking for something online, I go to Google and I skip over everything that says ad, and the very next thing down is usually the first thing I click on. But in SEO, you also want to make sure that what they're searching for, they find immediately. Because if people are bouncing, if they click on your website and then go, I don't see what I need, and then they immediately leave and they go to another website, that's going to count against your SEO. That's going to tell Google that it's placing you too high, that you are not giving people what they need, that your keywords are saying that your website is important and useful and relevant, and that the activity of viewers is telling Google, no, it's not, and you've improperly placed this on Google. So it'll bump you back down. So you want to make sure that, yes, your keywords are there, but then the second part is kind of like the keywords are talk, and then the content is really the walk. So you need to have blog posts that are actually matching up to those keywords. The content needs to be relevant to what the keywords are. So in choosing those keywords, you need to say, what am I going to write in these blogs? What kind of content is going to be on this website? And make sure that those things are lining up, and not just saying, I want to rank for realtors, but I'm only producing blogs geared towards business owners. Because I made that mistake, and I recently started pulling back and doing only real estate content for a short period of time, to try to pull back up on that and gearing my entrepreneur post towards realtors. And that's kind of how I corrected that issue. But I just wanted to point that out to show I've been through these struggles, and there are ways to fix it. And thankfully, the most common way to fix it is just to put more on there and then make sure that that's filled with your keywords. Now, Google will pull you down a little bit if it thinks you're keyword stuffing, which is basically like writing a nonsensical sentence that has all your keywords in it. Like, you need to have actual content, and it does every once in a while. There are actual people that will look at your website to make sure that the algorithm is doing what Google intends it to do. That's not super often, and it's not usually smaller websites, but just know that that can happen, especially if you're applying for like Google AdSense or analytics. They'll have crawlers come on your website and check for the keywords. So I just wanted to point those out. And then another thing with keywords is if you're looking for the ability to have more keywords on your website and you've got plenty of content on there already, is that you can use alt text like behind your pictures. So descriptions and the alt text in there will be something like, this picture is two realtors shaking hands. It's a place to put the keyword that's not necessarily content that your viewers are going to read unless they're using some sort of like visual to sound technology for people who are visually impaired. So you can place keywords there as well. So that's my spiel on keywords. I have many other topics, but I'll hand it back to you for a second.
No, that's wonderful. So I think a lot of people don't understand that, right? Like we were just talking about a little bit before. So I think this was a really good breakdown of the not just like the importance of keywords, but how to actually implement your keywords into your blog post, into your website, so that it actually helps your blog post rank for that keyword. So it's actually really important. And those are some really, really great tips that you shared in there as well that I don't think a lot of people understand. So the other thing I think I probably want to touch on just a little bit is, why, use SEO and blogging as a strategy, right? So what are some of the benefits that realtors can see by using blogging and SEO? Because there's a lot of different like channels out there that people can use. You've obviously heard of like just plain social media, people use paid ads, and I know YouTube is a big one, but what in your opinion do you think is the real benefit of SEO through blogging versus some of the other choices that all agents have today?
I think the biggest benefit is that it's scalable. So when you have a website, it's constantly bringing in traffic. And over time, as you're producing more blogs out there, it's bringing in more and more traffic, where your social media is going to be, okay, you put out a blog and it only took a short amount of time, but it's going to fizzle out pretty quickly. YouTube has gotten a lot better with like a video will just not seem to do well. And then like 2 years later, it'll suddenly get discovered and it'll just blow up. But a website is kind of like that, where the content stays out there forever. And the more that you have, the more authority and trust your website is going to gain. So it'll keep coming up in the ranks of Google. But it just, the numbers of people that are going to see your Facebook and Instagram posts versus the people that are going to visit your website on a monthly basis can be wildly different. If you invest the time into the website, it can be a tool on many levels. It is super scalable, where you can do the same amount of work over a consistent amount of time, like 2 blog posts a week for 10 years. At that 10-year mark, your website is going to have way more traffic than any of your social media posts are going to have. And people are going to keep coming back to that because they're going to go, oh, I got this really good information this one time from this website. Now I have another question and now I trust that person. So I'm going to go back there and get more information. So a big thing to realtors is being able to follow up with past clients, that we always are talking about your sphere of influence and talking about past clients being a part of that's where a huge portion of our business comes from. And with your website, that gives you a way where they're basically helping keep your face in front of them with them putting in the work. With your social media, you need to keep pumping out new posts,
Right.
and you need to do that stuff like daily and every other day. It's a lot. I mean, you guys know. But with your website, if you can get 2 consistent blog posts out there a week, or 1, or like whatever you can do it consistently, then if people can keep coming back for new information, they're not going to read every single blog post when they're there the first time. So they need something now, they'll need something different later, and they can keep coming back and visiting that. And they're going to keep referring to you as a person that they trust, a person that they understand their point of view, that they like, that they know, all those things that are important to us in marketing. but they're going to do that stuff on their own. They're not going to need a reminder to get there if they have the question, if they aren't texting you, which we would love for them to do, but they're kind of in a sense answering their own questions on your website, and it's still coming from you. Because I know a lot of us don't like it if one person gives a client information and then 10 years later they're talking to a different realtor and get a different piece of information, and it kind of undermines us. So your website on many, many levels is very good for your real estate business, that it's bringing in new clients and returning clients, and is giving you a wealth of information that's also there for you to reference. Something I do a lot with my website is people will ask me a question. I'll go, oh my goodness, I wrote a blog post on this, and I'll send them a link to my website, because that's helping my SEO, because somebody has gotten a direct link to my website. They're going to read a blog on my page, and I don't need to explain myself 12 times over, because the answer is right there and it's in detail. And I know I did a good job the first time around in explaining that. So it's not just off the cuff and I'm forgetting stuff. They're getting a really well thought out answer with the facts right there. And they're going, oh my goodness, like you already thought about this topic. It's not, new to you or whatever it is. So it just builds trust time and time and time again. So I just think that blogging is really underrated and underutilized in the real estate business. It can do a lot for us if we're really thinking through what content we're posting out there. But on that subject, I just want to note that there are other types of content besides just the blog that help with SEO, because you want people to go to your website and then you want them to stay there and you want them to find your website useful. So something I do that helps with my SEO and how long people are staying on the website is that I embed tools in the website. So that could be things like mortgage calculators, market statistics, like average pricing statistics for all sorts of different things. But you can find those on other people's website and you can copy the HTML from those. And I can elaborate if anybody needs help on that, but you can put that on your website and it'll just continuously update, and it keeps your website fresh, which pulls you up in SEO. It keeps people coming to your website because they'll be Googling for those tools. So as long as your title lines are saying what the tool is, then people will find that quickly on Google and they'll come to your website for those things, and then hopefully see your blog and go, oh, I found something useful on your website and now I like you because I read your blog. So it kind of keeps you there. But it's kind of an idea I got because I have toddlers, and before I had great information, I used to let my kids watch this show called Coco Melon. If you're a parent, and it's just bright and loud, and there's babies laughing and there's singing, and there's like there's words going across the screen and a little ball is jumping on the words, and it's just so much, and it's wildly overstimulating. So like I can't watch my kids I have my kids watch it anymore, but it's become inspiration for my website, where I'm like, I'm going to Coco Melon that website, and it keeps people there because it's overly stimulating. So I used to like run more dark themes on my website, and now I'm moving it to like, there's a lot of video content. There's a lot of embedded tools that are, that you can interact with. There's a lot more picture content. There's just a lot more moving pieces. So it's keeping people there. Just like we know from social media statistics that people are moving more towards video than they are towards like written content. But that was the point that I want to make, that I think that blogs are really great in getting people there. But if you want to keep people there, you should consider taking your blog post and then breaking them down into a video format. So you basically are like, what was the outline for the blog post before the blog post officially got written? And then you use that outline as video content. And the trick I use is that I put that out on YouTube, because YouTube and Google are the same company. So Google and YouTube are like, we don't want you to leave either site, but if you're going to, at least leave to our other site. So I just embed my YouTube videos into my website. So it both helps the SEO on many different levels. But it's also for the people who come there that really don't want to read the blog post. You want them to get the information somehow. So if they're not going to get it from the blog post, let them get it from your YouTube video. But then if somebody finds the YouTube video first, they're being cycled back into your blog post because you'll link that there. So it's kind of using Google and YouTube to work together to get your SEO rank up as high as you can get. And I've done a lot of keyword research, and I've actually for a short time used the word YouTube as a keyword because it ranked so high on Google, and no one goes to Google searching for something on YouTube. They would just go to YouTube first. So I didn't have a lot of competition there. So that helped me for a while. But in order to get the keyword for YouTube on my website, I had to embed a bunch of YouTube videos and use the titles to write YouTube channel for whatever, YouTube video about whatever. But I just wanted to throw those things out there that you should try to mix your content, that your blog post can also be converted to YouTube videos, be converted into social media post. So if you're worried about the time commitment to get a blog post out there, just do the blog post first and then convert it to your other types of media, and then link all those things back into your website, because it may be a little bit of duplicate content, which Google doesn't truly like. But as long as you do it well and you mix it up and you're using different wording and it's really different forms of content, then you're kind of increasing the amount of general content that is on the website. You're increasing the different forms of it, so it keeps people there longer. So this can be really complex, but it doesn't need to take up a bunch of your time if you do it smart. If you're planning ahead and saying, what ultimately do I want to do with all this information, and just planning to do that from the start, a blog post can work really well into your marketing plan and not slow you down any.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a lot of good stuff that you just brought up there. Definitely, blogging is something that's very, like you said, it's very dynamic, and there's different things that you can do on your website. And I even learned, a trick there about the embedding tools to keep people on your sites a little bit longer. So I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to implement that. So that's very useful for me as well. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's definitely an overlooked, I think, method of lead generation for agents.
Yeah.
And if they just put in a little bit of time and effort, like you said, if they build out their websites and they do all the right things and they, put some effort into it to get people not to just to go there using the right keywords, but also to stay there with good information, then they
Yeah.
can actually take that content and then blast it out into turning it into a YouTube video, turning it into a social media post, all these different things that they can use. But the content was basically created from scratch once and then now duplicated into different types of content. So it's really good stuff. And for any agents that's kind of listening to this that want to start their own blog posts or want to start their own website and want to use this strategy now because they've been inspired, what are some good ways that an agent can, get this up and going? Because we know a lot of brokerages out there provide
Mhm.
agents with websites that have blog functions. Do you
Right.
think that's a good place to start, or should an agent go out there and get their own domain and their own WordPress website? Or what would the agent do to start their website to get this process going?
So first thing, decide whether or not you're going to use your brokerage's website that they host for you, or if you're going to do your own. When I started in real estate, I started with a company that didn't offer it, so I built my own website. Um, if you're going to do that, you should know that GoDaddy is not the place. And I'm not going to get too much into that, but be really mindful of the hosting service that you use, because one of the factors of SEO is going to be speed. So if you're using a service that's not going to be quick or can't be optimized to be faster, then you need to look somewhere else, because you don't want everything else to be right and then that one thing holding you back. If you're going to use it through your brokerage, they probably have an integrated CRM, so that's really helpful, but you're going to have less functionality over that website and be able to do a few less things on it, unless they're hosting it on WordPress or something like that. So first, decide which of those you're going to do. And then second, I would start trying to get as much good content on there as you can. I would start with the embedding tools because they're fast and easy. They sound complicated. They're truly not. For realtors, if you actually go into MLS, HomeSnap, RPR, I think all of those have widgets that you can add to your website. And it is truly as simple as clicking 3 little dots and saying share and then clicking on embed and copying pasting onto your website. It's not like, these are the fastest things that you can do. When I am in a bind and can't produce a blog post that day, adding a widget is one of the first things that I do to draw traffic to my website. So getting those in there just for the sake of having useful tools on the website. And then all that stuff is free. You don't need any extra software. You just need to figure out how to do it one time, and then you can repeat it easily. So after that, I would consider doing third-party websites for your blog posts. Right now, I write them in Google Documents, and then I copy and paste them into my hosting service, and it's sometimes the format doesn't translate, and the format is part of my like CoComelon this website. So you need the font to be pretty. It needs to be easy to read, because if it looks complicated or like one wall of text, people aren't going to stay and read it. So looking at a third-party company that will let you make the blog post pretty before it goes onto your website is a good idea, but also looking at their sharing tools, like when you produce that blog post, how easy is it to share on social media from that third-party company. And then doing Google Analytics from the beginning, so you can get a baseline of where your website started, obviously 0 across the board, but you want to watch that growth, and you want to see what types of blog posts you put out there are bringing your website the most traffic, where it's coming from. Is it because you're sharing on social media, or because they're finding you on Google? So that'll give you a reference to look for on like, how good am I doing of the SEO? So setting up Google Analytics from the beginning. And then for me personally, something I did, because a website does cost some money to run. So before it generated real estate leads for me, what I was doing was running affiliate marketing on the website. So it's basically like saying, I'm going to produce a post that's going to talk about using a specific service for your home. And then you go to that company and you apply for affiliate link, and you just plug that into your blog. So it's a way to have the website generate a little bit of income for you before you're getting the real estate leads. So to help you with those startup costs of putting together your website, because if you are building a good website, it might cost a little bit each month to keep that going. So I definitely suggest getting a little bit of affiliate marketing in there. You want to keep that percentage small, because Google will ding you if it thinks that you're just trying to collect money from people coming in. So I did that. I definitely suggest other people look into that, because it's honestly not difficult to set up and does earn you a little bit of money. And I know agents at EXP, something really big to us is having multiple streams of income. So that's just one of mine that I use. And then some of the tools that we're going to link below on figuring out what your keywords are going to be, and making sure that your website actually is ranking for those keywords, and that the software thinks that your website has the same keywords that you think that your website has, making sure those line up. Those are important as well. And then there's 2 articles that I'd love to link below, where I've gotten most of my information in the early days for SEO, like what I've built all of my knowledge on top of. I'd love to link those posts below, because I think people seeing where I started at and what information I was using would be really useful in them trying to build their skills on SEO. So yeah, that's the technology I would start with. You can use lots of free trials and stuff. I did lots of free trials, but the best tools out there are going to cost you a little bit, but they're going to be worth it. You just work your website on as much free stuff as you can to start with. And then as it starts bringing you leads and affiliate commissions, then you build up a little bit and a little bit better. So just vet your technology before you use it, and decide what's going to be able to scale with your business. As that traffic is heavier, as the leads start rolling in more, what is going to be able to move from a free trial to something that is absolutely worth paying for. I think that's the most important part.
Right. Yeah, it's a really good tip for anybody looking to start off, their SEO, their website strategy, and actually, having a self-sustaining website in the beginning using affiliate
Yeah.
links. That's actually really good for a lot of agents, who might be afraid to kind of get this up and going, and they're not really sure whether or not it'll work. So those are all really great tips. And yeah, Yeah, I just want to thank you, Brandi, for coming on and sharing all your knowledge for SEO and blogging. And I know you mentioned that one of the things you're doing is helping other realtors actually with their SEO, maybe if they wanted to, get started using this strategy for, their lead generation. So for anybody who is listening or watching this, what is a good way for them to reach out directly to you if they want to pursue the strategy a little bit more, or they want to, work together with you? And potentially learn how they can, capitalize on this in their market as well.
So on my website, agentbrandismith.com, you can go and judge how great my website is yourself. There's good music there at least, but um but I do offer some services where I kind of do it for you, build the website, optimize SEO, and it basically works for itself for the most part. But I've got information there that people can check out. And if you want to grab my contact information off of agentbrandismith.com, I've got some really great real estate specific, like, just deep in SEO. It's way more than we need to talk about on the
Yeah.
call today, but I can really get it optimized specifically to real estate and especially agents that are looking to recruit other agents. I've got some really good pieces of information that just work together to not do extra work. And I'd love to talk to people more deeply on the subject.
Awesome. 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 So you guys heard it. You guys heard it here. If you guys want to get more information on how to go out there and use SEO and blogging to your advantage, make sure to reach out to Brandi. Go on her website. We'll link that down below as well. And just want to thank you again for being on the show. And before I let you sign off, I just wanted to say, is there anything, any last tips, any last thoughts you kind of want to share or leave with the audience before we let them go here?
Hmm. I guess I will give one more little nugget.
Yeah.
Um, so part of your keywords can also be an area, which a lot of brick and mortar businesses use to their advantage to get website traffic. So for real estate specific, if you go into your MLS, you can run reports on your specific area or the market you're trying to work in, and you can embed those in your website. And that'll not only boost your keywords and your content, but also your area specific stuff. So that makes a huge difference in SEO. But I've I've got more where that came from though. Don't forget to go check out my website.
Right. That's a really great tip. So make sure to go check out Brandi's website. I want to thank you again, Brandi, for being on the show and sharing your knowledge. I want to thank everybody else for tuning in, and we'll see you guys. See you guys next time. Take care.
Yeah.